Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Ben, and this channel is dedicated to all things personal finance, helping you earn more, spend less, and invest the difference. Now, it's not often that I talk about current events on this channel, but with the coronavirus going around, it's causing a lot of problems, both with the virus itself and with the economy. Now, the government did just recently pass a $2 trillion stimulus package known as the CARES Act. And this act had provisions for both large corporations, small businesses, and individual Americans. Unfortunately, it's becoming increasingly evident that this stimulus package is simply not enough. For the small businesses, they had over $350 billion appropriated to the SBA program. Unfortunately, they ran out of this money within minutes. A senior executive for JP Chase said that they only got through the first 5 minutes worth of applications. And this is a big problem because this program was on a first come, first served basis. So if you weren't one of the first people literally hovering with your mouse button over the submit icon when this thing went live, you were not going to get any money through this SBA program. Banks said that they were receiving tens of thousands of applications every hour. And on top of that, the $1,200 stimulus that is being sent out to individual Americans is not going to cover much. In a best case situation, that might cover April's rent. But what about May, June, and July? Now, there are a few proposals being floated around through Congress, and it's very important to realize that these are just proposals at this point. This has not been passed into law. It still has to be voted on by the Congress, the Senate, and ultimately approved by the President. Under this current proposal, money would be sent directly to Americans as opposed to big businesses. And this would be done by issuing a check for $2,000 each and every month for the next 6 months, which can be extended to the next 12 months if unemployment does not return to its previous highs. Under the new proposal, every American over the age of 16 would receive a monthly check in the amount of $2,000 regardless of their employment status, as long as they are making under $130,000 per year. This amount would also be increased by $500 per child under the age of 16, up to a maximum of $1,500 per month. This benefit would also be reduced by $50 per month for every $1,000 that somebody earns over the $130,000 cap. So if you earned $140,000 a year, you would get $1,500 per month as opposed to $2,000 per month. This money would be considered completely tax-free, so it would not be counted towards paying any sort of federal income taxes on it, nor would it affect your ability to qualify for other federal assistance programs such as food stamps or Section 8 housing. This also applies for anyone who is also claimed as a dependent. Maybe they're a college student or an elderly person in your family that you are taking care of due to some sort of a medical condition. So these people would get the money as well. And non-citizen U.S. residents would also receive this money, assuming that they met a set of predefined criteria. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with this proposal. Maybe it gets passed into law, or maybe it doesn't. I can't see the future, but if I were a betting man, I would say that this is not going to get passed without some serious revisions. While I think it's great that they are giving money to individual people as opposed to big companies, I don't see this being economically feasible given the sheer amount of money that would have to be spent on this program. So currently the United States is roughly $24 trillion in debt. Now each year we're operating with a loss. So our current budget for this year is roughly $4.8 trillion, but we are only receiving about $3.8 trillion in revenue. So we are adding roughly $1 trillion of debt each and every year already. Now, this does not count the $2 trillion plus that we've already spent on the CARES Act, and this new act is going to also be ridiculously expensive. It is even going to cost us more than the CARES Act did. By issuing every single person in America over the age of 16 a check for $2,000 a month for a minimum of the next 6 months, that is going to cost many trillions of dollars. Now, it's estimated that America has about 328 million people living in America, of which about 64 million, give or take, are under the age of 16. So if we assume that roughly 5% of people will make over the $130,000 threshold and will be receiving either no or limited benefits. So given those numbers, we are going to be spending about $500 billion every single month on those $2,000 payments, as well as roughly an extra $32 billion per month for those folks that are under the age of 16 that are going to be getting that $500 per month. So this means we're spending roughly 530 some billion dollars a month for at least the next 6 months, potentially out to a year. Even in a best case situation, if this only lasts for 6 months, we're going to be spending well over $3.1 trillion on this program alone. So even in a best case situation where this only happens for the next 6 months, that would put our total coronavirus stimulus packages at well over $5 trillion. Now that's going to add roughly 25% to our already extraordinarily high federal debt. So for those reasons alone, I don't think that this bill is going to get passed. I think those numbers are going to get reduced a little bit. I think $2,000 a month might be a little bit excessive as a blanket across the board for everybody. In addition, this money is given to everybody regardless of whether or not they have been economically impacted or not. So that means that if you are still working and still getting your normal paycheck, you would be getting an extra essentially $12,000 over the next 6 months, completely free, no taxes, no nothing. And so I'm not sure if that's the best route to go. Realistically, there's limited resources. So if you are not economically impacted, then why should you be getting this additional money? Now, don't get me wrong, everybody would love to have an extra couple of $1,000 each and every month. I know I sure would. But when there are limited resources, I think that we should first make sure that the people that are suffering due to this economic downturn are taken care of first before we just start doing across the board blanket checks to everybody. And maybe it's just me, but $130,000 sounds like a really high cutoff limit to receive the full amount. I mean, maybe if you live in a super expensive area, $130,000 may not be all that much. But for most people, $130,000 is a lot of money. And I just don't think that people that are earning that much money are going to need an additional $2,000 a month for the next 6 months. So I highly think that that number is also going to get looked at when the final bill comes around. And I've talked to a few people, and I think their number one argument for a package like this, where everybody gets money regardless of whether or not they've been hurt by the coronavirus or not, economically speaking, is that their argument is, well, essentially this is meant to be a stimulus package to stimulate the economy and get the economy going again. So when you give your everyday Americans extra money, they're just going to spend it, and that's going to go into the economy, and that's going to get the economy going, which is the entire purpose of this spending bill. But is that really the purpose of this spending bill? The economy was doing just fine until coronavirus hit. The economy cannot be saved by injecting more money into it. You can't save an economy if there is no economy. Currently, the entire economy is essentially shut down. Most states are under some sort of a lockdown procedure. So I know if I got a check for an extra $2,000, I couldn't spend it even if I wanted to. I can't take a vacation. I can't go to a concert or a sporting event. I can't go to the store and buy new products because in a lot of states, they have put limitations on even what products you can buy. And in some states, items like clothing or car seats are actually banned as they are put under this non-essential list of items. So I don't think that just giving everybody $2,000 is going to save the economy because most people can't spend that extra $2,000. Sure, the people that have been hurt are going to need that money to pay rent and food and groceries and that kind of thing. But if you are simply somebody that is still working and still getting your paycheck, you're not going to be able to easily spend that extra $2,000. So this is not going to save the economy. The only thing that will save the economy is a cure for coronavirus so that we can start to get back to normal. Until people start going out in public and traveling, until businesses are able to open, the economy cannot be saved by simply injecting more money into it. But that's just my opinion. If you disagree and you think that $2,000 stimulus package for everybody is a fantastic idea, leave a comment down below and let me know why you think it's such a great idea. And as always, consider subscribing to the channel that encourages you to earn more, spend less, and invest the difference. Until next time, I'm Ben. Thanks for watching.